Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking because you're always looking for and finding the good. We have good in abundance, overflowing today. And you have tuned in consciously and conscientiously to the joy of living with your humble host, Barry Shore. And we are going to enable you to be transported and transformed with the help of the information from our amazing, wonderful guest. And you've tuned in today for one reason and one reason only. And it's the best reason in the whole world because you care in the whole world the most about you. YOUEWE. And that's great because when you become the best you make the world a better place. You build more bridges of harmony. You create more joy, happiness, peace, and love in the world. And that's why you tuned in, because you know that on this show, first of all, you're joined by over 351,820 people around the world at this very moment, and that everybody is tuned in to become the best you possible. And you know that happens in this show because we work with the three fundamentals of life. And when you use these three fundamentals, the result is that you will be happier, healthier, and wealthier. And who doesn't want that? Happier, healthier, and wealthier. And these three fundamentals are, number one, life. Your life has purpose. And when you lead a purpose-driven life, you can have number two. In this case, number two is great because number two stands for go mad. And MAD is a wonderful acronym that stands for make a difference. You lead a purpose-driven life, you will make a difference in the world, like you're going to hear from our amazing guest today. And the third fundamental of life is to uncover the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms. Everyday words and terms. Simple example. Right now, hundreds and hundreds of thousands people around the world are listening and watching over this remarkable, mystical, magical platform called the internet. If you ask anybody, what does www stand for? Invariably, they'll tell you it has to do with the internet. And factually speaking, they're correct. But in our world, the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, www stands for what a wonderful world. And whata is a word, right? WHATA. What a wonderful world. Now, whenever you hear even the opening bars of that song, What a Wonderful World, of course, a tip of the hat and a big thank you to Louis Armstrong, Satchmo, for enabling that song to go viral and touch not just tens of millions or hundreds of millions, but billions of people around the planet. You hear the opening bars of What a Wonderful World. What do you do right away? You smile. You can't help but smile. You can't help but doing it. Now, smile is one of the most important words you could ever integrate, utilize, and leverage in your life because smile stands for seeing miracles in life every day. Seeing miracles in life every day. Now, when I speak to groups of people just before COVID, I had an audience of about 5,200 people. And by the way, COVID going to be gone. You won't even think about God willing in a year or two. But imagine talking to real people again. The masquerade is over. And I'm talking about the story of Barry Shore and seeing miracles in life every day. And people raising and saying, hey, Barry Shore, I've been up for hours already. I haven't seen any miracles. And I asked them, are you here? Can you hear? Can you see? Can you stand still? I can't. Can you walk? I can barely do that. You have water, drink, food to eat, a place to sleep, family, friends. Every single one of those is a miracle. What's the simple proof? Simplest proof. 1 million people didn't get out of bed this morning. You know why? They died. By definition, if you're watching this, listening to this, you didn't, and therefore you have an obligation to live life exuberantly, live life to the full, as you'll hear from our amazing guest today. So the ability to see miracles in life every day. Quick story. Imagine standing up in the morning, hale and hearty, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound, and that evening being in the hospital totally, completely paralyzed. That's me. 144 days in the hospital, 2 years in a hospital bed in my own home. I couldn't turn over by myself. 4 years in a wheelchair. I had braces on both legs, my hips to my ankles for years, and that was progress. Thank God today I'm able to be vertical ambulatory with the help of a 7-foot walking wand. I still cannot walk up a stair by myself. I can't walk up a curb by myself. And I have help 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. But you hear my voice, positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. And it's all because of one word, smile. Seeing miracles in life every day. But I got to tell you something. My 8-year-old niece comes over to me a few weeks ago and she says, Uncle Barry, can we spell smile S-M-I-E-L? And I thought about it. Sounds the same. Why not? I asked her, how come? She says, because then it would stand for seeing miracles in everyday life. Out of the mouth of babes, an 8-year-old. But what was she doing? She was creating the kind of world she wants to live in. Create stands for causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. Rethinking, neuro-linguistic programming. Thank God you have a brain. Your brain has 100 billion brain cells and over 100 trillion synapses connecting all those brain cells. And they're there for more than deciding what kind of latte you want this morning. The ability to choose in life, as we're going to learn from our amazing guest, choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Now, I want to warn everybody in advance, and especially our guests, that I do use a lot of 4-letter words. I even use the 4-letter FU word, and I do it because of the shock value, of course, and it's fun. Now, the 4-letter words that we use, of course, because we live in the world of positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, are love, life, hope, grow, free, gift, pray, play, swim. 4-letter words. And the 4-letter FU word is fun. Fun, yes, F-U, capital N, capital N. Now, right away, people raise their hands and say, hey, Barry Shore, fun's only spelled with 3 letters. Not in our world, the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. Fun is spelled F-U, capital N, capital N. So after the show, when you see your family, your friends, you have a twinkle in your eye, a smile on your face, you know what that stands for, point your finger and say, F-U, everybody. But remember to add right away, capital N, capital N. Say, where'd you get that? I said, I listened to The Joy of Living with Barry Shore. He wants to teach the world to F you, capital N, capital N. So before we bring on amazing Dr. Lenny Peters, I want to urge everybody to do the following. And we do this every week, and it's beginning to take hold in the world and make a difference. I'm going to ask you to use the 2 most powerful words in the English language 3 times a day, consciously and conscientiously, from now forward for the rest of your life. And these 2 words are, drum roll, fanfare, da-dun, da-da. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank stands for to harmonize and network kindness. To harmonize and network kindness. The Dalai Lama has been quoted as saying, I read in his writings, be kind whenever possible. And as he says, it's always possible. So imagine going into the coffee shop, pandemic's over, no mask, no nothing. You walk in the coffee shop, you order your fancy latte, you sit down, somebody brings it to you. You say, thank you. You walk in the coffee shop, you order your fancy latte, you sit down, a few minutes go by, nobody brings it to you. You go to the counter and say, oh, I'm sorry, we forgot, we're so busy. We'll bring it to you. You sit down, a couple of minutes go by, somebody brings it, you still say, thank you. You're walking out of the coffee shop and it's raining out. Somebody holds the door open for you. You say, thank you. You're walking out of the coffee shop. It's raining and somebody slams the door on you. You say, thank you. You're stuck in traffic. You're late for an appointment. Somebody cuts you off. You say, thank you. You get to the middle of the night and you stub your toe and it hurts. You say, thank you. To harmonize and network kindness. Kindness is a remarkable word that stands for keep inspiring noble deeds. There is no one I can think of that I'd like to share with you now who inspires noble deeds. The most remarkable, wonderful Dr. Lenny Peters. Lenny, please say hello to 354,822 people around the world.
Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here with Barry Shore.
Well, we are so happy to have Dr. Lenny Peters with you. The world needs more, not just Lenny Peters. It needs more knowledge about what Lenny is, what he does, and where he's been and where he's going. Because his story is, I wouldn't say the story of everyone. It's unique. But by the same token, it is the story of everyone because it's about growing up in circumstances, facing them, overcoming them, and showing other people by your deeds, not just by your words, that there are no boundaries, there are no barriers, especially when you utilize one of the great 4-letter words in the world, which is pray. But we'll get there in just a few moments. So I'm going to just jump right in. And if I start reading all of the amazing attributes and accomplishments of Dr. Lenny Peters, it will take up the rest of the show. So I'm only going to highlight 3 things. One of them is Dr. Lenny Peters, and I don't mean a PhD. This is Dr. Lenny Peters. And what he's done is that he not only has built up a remarkably large, successful, flourishing practice, both in the world of medicine and the world of real estate, but he touches thousands and thousands of people on a daily basis. That's number one. Number two, Dr. Peters has a very interesting background in that not only does he come from the subcontinent. Now, of course, we have people listening all over the world, so they know subcontinent means Southeast Asia, meaning India specifically. But when people think of India, by definition, they tend to think of Hindu, maybe some Muslim, not some, but Muslim also, but he's not either. He's a Catholic. And there are 20 million Catholics in India. We'll talk about that. And number three, he is a fun person. By the way, Lenny, when was the last time somebody said F you to you and you laughed?
I am so happy to be here, and I'm a fun-loving person.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's just start.
I love to meet people. I love to hear their stories, and I love to tell them my story. So maybe I can inspire one or two of them.
So let's just jump right in and start where you come from. So again, we have, thank God, tens of thousands of listeners throughout India. So people are applauding right now. Say, yay, Lenny, yay, Lenny. Lenny, tell us where, in fact, you come from. It's a wonderful province or a state, I guess we might call it, called Kerala, which is mostly, or at least a large part of it is Catholic, which again is very unique in India because India is a country of 1+ billion people. So 20 million Catholics, sort of a drop in the bucket, but yeah, it's still 20 million. So tell us about what it means to grow up in a predominantly non-Catholic country, but in a predominantly Catholic environment.
Yes, I was born and raised in a state called Kerala, which is in the southernmost part of India, on the west coast. And I am in a small village with no running water or electricity on the other side of paddy fields. So we have to walk every day across the paddy fields. And therefore, the terminology barefoot. Even if you had shoes, you couldn't wear because it's water and paddy fields. But we didn't have shoes anyway. So my mother had 3 children. I'm youngest of the 3. It's a very small home. She barely made it to be able to raise us. My father worked for an oil company in the Middle East, so he was gone 11 months out of the 12 months. He's only home 1 month a year. So she struggled, and we all had to chip in and do the very best possible to help each other. And it was a difficult time. The food was scarce, but we just had just about enough. And I was very blessed and abundantly called upon by God to do His work. So I was able to leave my small village at the age of 14 to start my medical career. And that in itself was something that I myself couldn't believe.
So let me put you on pause for a moment, because you've just given over a tremendous amount of data and a background that is, let's be blunt, challenging under the easiest circumstances, and you didn't have them. By the way, I want to make mention to somebody, people just lean in and enjoy everything that Dr. Peters is talking to us about, because it's going to be a lot of information and transformative information. All you have to do is go to my website, www.whatawonderfulworld.barryshore.com. Everything about Dr. Lenny Peters, his books, his information, it's all going to be there. So don't even have to write down, just listen and absorb what this being is channeling for us. So I want to go back a couple of things that you said. So here you are growing up dirt poor. Well, in your case, you say water poor because you had to walk through paddy fields. And even if you did have shoes, that's not the right way to do things. And by definition, the expectation that you would rise to the ranks of becoming a healer, a doctor, in my humble opinion, was probably beyond the realm of possibility for most of the people in your village, thinking about not just you, but most of the kids you grew up with. In other words, I'd like to ask, you were the youngest of 3. Are your two older siblings in similar circumstances to you?
No, they're not. There is no doctors in my family, extended family, nowhere. But it was a calling in life for me, and I, from very young age 6, age 7, I would tell everyone, I'm a doctor. I would put some sort of white cloth around me and walk around telling everyone that I'm a healer, I'm a doctor. So it was in my DNA. It was what I was called upon to do. As growing up as a Christian was very difficult. So we are a very small minority, and my mother was a very strong Christian, but she taught me and all around us how to be tolerant of every religion. So, like Mahatma Gandhi once said, that if you are a Hindu, be a better Hindu. If you are a Muslim, be a better Muslim. And if you are a Christian, be a better Christian. That's all we can ask for. We're not trying to change each other. That's the only faith I know. But I only ask everyone to have some form of faith.
By the way, wonderful Lenny, I want to share with you something. The word faith is a wonderful acronym that stands for finding answers in the hidden. Finding answers in the hidden. And I think that you just brought it out. Whenever I meet a person who is a healer, I invariably ask this question: when did you know or begin to know that you were a healer? And I think you articulated it beautifully. At the age of 6 already, you were channeling the ability to be of benefit to others, because that's really what a healer is, isn't it? Of being benefit to others, not saying, I am a doctor. It's saying, I'm a healer. I'm here to be of service, which, by the way, is perfectly in alignment with your faith of being the best Christian you can be. And that's what it means to be the best you. As we said at the very beginning of the show, the reason people tune in, Lenny, to this show is because they know that this show is not about Lenny Peters. As wonderful as you are, it's not about Barry Shore, as interesting as he is. This show is about you, the one listening, the one watching, because it's really about you becoming the best you. Dr. Peters, you articulated it so wonderfully. Being the best you possible in whatever circumstance you are will enable you to find your best being. Dr. Lenny Peters comes from a place that is impossible to describe to most people. And today, he's not just a doctor. Let's jump forward and say, tell us just a little bit about your practice in North Carolina, United States, North Carolina, in a place called High Point. What do you actually have on the ground in terms of services for people?
So today we're the largest independent provider of healthcare in the state, and single owner provider of healthcare, not a multi-conglomerate. And we have 15 specialties, 15 locations. We see about 1,200 patients through our doors each day.
Every single day.
1,200 patients or more every day. And we are open to everyone. That's a policy I started 25 years ago. We opened our doors to poor or rich. In doing so, we had everyone come through our clinics, whether it is a person who is in government subsidy or has health issues that they cannot. I named the clinic Bethany Medical. Bethany is the name. It comes from Bible. Name of the house where Martha, Mary, and Lazarus lived. There were 3 different types of people united by their love for their fellow villagers and for Jesus. So I felt that we should have the same way. We should be united by our common goal to help others. And that means everyone, not just someone. And not only people with insurance, for everyone. So we opened our doors, walk-in clinics. All clinics are walk-in, and we are open 7 days a week. No one could do it.
I want to unpack something you just said, because I want people to understand the depth and the height of what we're discussing here. Lenny Peters, who comes from as poor a background as anybody could imagine, thank God, the good Lord was able to pluck him from where he was and enable him to attend medical school. I think it was mostly in the United Kingdom under their auspices first, because obviously the relations with India. Now in a place called High Point, North Carolina. As he said, 15 locations serving almost 500,000 people every year. Serving people. He didn't say serving people with insurance, serving people without insurance. He's serving people who have medical needs. And what is he doing? He's doing it with a full heart, knowing that he's serving the good Lord. I mean, the genius of this is he's not serving Lenny Peters, but by Lenny Peters being a servant, he is enabled now to serve 500,000 people a year. And the opposite of the natural result of that is that he flourishes. You see, you flourish most in the world when you become most serving. When you're on your knees is when you're standing the tallest. Am I correct, Lenny, when I say that?
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. So we have been able to do this good work, and because of that, we also became the largest minority-owned business of any type in the state. And I received the award for the one of the highest philanthropic award called the Love of the Family Award on the one side, and I'm also Power Player of the Year on the other side. So it all works together. When you are willing to give, you get more. It keeps coming. And
right. This is beautiful. I just want to share with you, and then in the audience, they know that most of the people, we have over 350,000 people listen every week, and they bring their friends. So it'll be over 370 by the time we finish. So The Joy of Living, which is the title of the podcast and the title of my best-selling book, I sum it up, Lenny, in one word. The joy of living equals giving. That's the joy of living, right? Giving. You just articulated it. I would like to go and dig a little deeper. I want to talk to you about COVID. We'll do that on the other side of our commercial break. But right now, I want to talk a little bit about your abilities to, how should we say it, to grow in many different fields. Let's take two of them. One of them is real estate, and the other is medicine, medical services. So talk to us about when you first came to the States. You came here as a physician trained in the United Kingdom. And how did you come to the United States?
I came to University of Pittsburgh to study liver transplant. So that's the first liver transplant that was taking place at the University of Pittsburgh in the world. So I was excited. I have 2 degrees from London after my MD. But then those days, it was very tough to get liver. We were waiting around. So I went into something related, which is gastroenterology, and became a gastroenterologist, and became a researcher, came to North Carolina. And that's how I built my companies. But somehow God has given me talents that are somewhat unique, I would say, that I can go into any part of business and do well. Back in 1991, when all the savings and loan were failing, 4 of my friends and I decided we're going to start a commercial bank. And we got the license. We opened that bank in a double wide trailer. First loan was placed. We took that to 68 cities and 3 states. And 8 years later, it was a publicly traded company, and I was the largest shareholder. So that just couldn't happen. I never studied business or banking. I'm a physics, chemistry, biology guy. But I realized there is something beyond medicine that I'm called upon to do, because the needs are getting bigger and bigger. So I needed to create what is needed to fulfill my destiny. So banking was one of them. And that was one big bank. Now it's in 4 states. 25 years, I was the lead director, senior director, and chairman of the loan committee for 25 years. Now it's a 4-stat bank. 3 years ago, we started another small bank in the area just to have my daughter work. I'm the chairman of that small bank. But banking is one of those areas I became very good at. And during that whole process, I would be very brief. I read a book by a fellow named Robert Allen. and it said, nothing down. And everybody here probably heard about this, is you can buy real estate with no money. And I was so surprised. How can that happen? I come from a poor area in India, and we couldn't even buy rice without money. How could I buy real estate? So I tested the theory, and it worked. So I started a commercial real estate firm. Now I'm the largest developer in the area. I have 14 construction projects going on at this moment. So it's not to say that you asked that question, where have the good Lord placed me in order to, but that's not all that I'm proud about. I'm mostly proud about my charitable foundation, the Lenny Peters Foundation. It's on, you can go to our website, lennypetersfoundation.org. We are on YouTube, a lot of information. So we started creating orphanages and helping cancer patients. Now we have 6 centers in India and 2 in Africa. They are orphan children. We take them into our centers, all the buildings and the pictures and all on the website. And we give them food, clothing, education, total care. And I never took a dollar from anyone else.
So again, I want to unpack a couple of things here. First of all, if you wrote it down, it's great, but just have to go to www.barryshore.com. Everything about Lenny is there. But I want everybody to understand what we're talking about. So, Lenny, you know the word cog, right? C-O-G. Yes. When you think about a cog, you tend to think about a small piece in a big machine, right? That's a cog. So I want everybody to understand that Lenny is the essence of cog, because cog stands for channel of goodness, child of God. And when you recognize that, you don't think about your size. What you just think about is, what can you do? You ask the question, how best can I serve? So if I can serve best by banking, I'm providing banking services, that's what I do. If I can serve best by real estate development, well, that's what I do as well. But you recognize that the highest calling in life is to be able to channel all of that goodness into the service of others, especially in places that are not just forgotten, but so in need, that to be able to touch somebody in those orphanages and find another Lenny. In other words, by definition, there are Lennys that you're helping. You hear what I'm saying?
Yes.
It can't be otherwise. Even if every single one of them, all they were able to do is just become the best them possible, and they didn't become bankers or developers or physicians, but they became the best them, and they brought more joy and happiness and peace and love into the world. That's what Lenny Peters is about. One of the reasons I am so honored and humbled that he's here with us today is to share his story, his vision, and his abilities, and to make everybody aware of the following. And this is not in any way taking a whiff away from Lenny Peters. Everybody watching and listening, every single one of you has the same abilities as Dr. Lenny Peters. I think you readily agree. Am I correct?
Absolutely, 100%.
And that's part of the genius.
We all have the glory of God within us.
Right. We're going to go to a break in just a minute or so. I want to set the stage for something before we do that. And I want to emphasize again that the ability for someone to create the kind of world they want to live in. Let's hear again what CREATE stands for: causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. So Lenny, I share with people on the podcast and in my book and my lectures and my courses that the word create is causing rethinking. You know better than most anybody. You're a physician. You have a brain. You have 100 billion brain cells. You have 100 trillion synapses. And they're there for more than deciding something trivial. The ability to do neuro-linguistic programming, as you said, he read a book by Robert Allen, one of the most famous, but nothing down. And first thing he said, well, wait a minute, is that possible? So the natural result is, wait a minute, how could that be? And yet, once he read it and he read it again and he read it again, he understood the process. Here's the key. You understand the process, well, you try it. See, The genius of Lenny Peters, in my humble opinion, Lenny, is that you're not afraid to try. Am I correct in that?
Absolutely correct. Yes.
That's one of the reasons for success. What
My
I'm going to do is we're going to be go to a short commercial break. There is so much more of Dr. Lenny Peters on the other side. Don't go away. Keep your seatbelt buckled. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Hey, Lenny. Good day, everybody. I am just so happy to be discussing our sponsor now called Notion, Notion, Notion.so. Just go to Notion. You'll do a quick search. With hybrid work becoming the norm, the strongest teams have two things in common: speed and alignment. Speed and alignment both come from having one hub where everyone can share work and processes, manage projects, and collaborate with clarity. The one thing you need really is aligning everyone around what needs to get done, the why, and the day-to-day work itself. For companies of all sizes, Notion, Notion, provides one central and customizable workspace that can be tailored to fit any team and bring all the teams together to get more done faster, better, and cheaper. Speaking about that, we'll tell you about the amazing special that's on right now. Plus, Notion has a worldwide network of millions of users creating templates and tutorials and inspiration. The product is getting better and better all the time. You always have the support you need. Now, here's an extra bonus. Are you ready? Free, Free. Learn more and get started for free at Notion.so. Notion.so. You can check it out on your own and invite as many friends as you want to see how it works. Take the first step toward an organized, happy team today. Again, that's Notion, Notion.so. You'll be thanking me. It is so wonderful. We use it. It's great. Best wishes. Bye now. Imagine the kind of place you would want to shop for your favorite fur baby pet. HonestPets.co. Well, you found it. HonestPets.co. Not .com, .co. This is your go-to spot for the best, the cleanest pet treats that exist anywhere on the planet. All of the brands go through a rigorous review to make sure they meet the high standards of cleanliness, health benefits, and naturalness. This site was started by a husband and wife team, and it's veteran-owned, and that care about pets, especially dogs and cats, and coming soon, bird treats. These are very nice young people who really care about making a difference, because a portion of proceeds go to support veteran organizations with a focus on service dogs. This is the place where you want to go. You want to tell your friends this has the finest, yummiest, freshest, all-natural treats and stuff for your fur baby. So go there, honestpets.co. honestpets.co. Do it now. Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking because you're always looking for and finding the good. We have good in abundance. Our cup runneth over with good. In a person, two-legged being named Dr. Lenny Peters. You've been learning about his background coming from a fishing village on the west coast of India, barefoot, walking through paddy fields, and rising up and becoming a physician in the UK, then going to Pittsburgh, becoming an expert in liver transplant and rising to become chief resident, going to North Carolina, opening up services for people in clinics. Now that owns 15 of them. He owns banks. He owns development companies. And it's all because of four-letter words. And these four-letter words are work hard, live well, pray hard. So let's go and talk about some of these four-letter words like live, work, and pray. Wonderful, Dr. Lenny Peters. By the way, it's important that you were a liver transplant expert. You realize that. Don't play on words. Liver, I mean, that's the whole point of the root of liver is live. That's what you were. You literally became your full liver being. You transplanted yourself from the UK, from India to the UK, the United States, to service hundreds of 500,000 people a year now. And with all that, to bring about raising up people in orphanages in the most desperate situations in the world, in India and Africa. So let's talk about work hard, live well, pray hard.
Yes, prayer, very, very important. I always was a big proponent of prayer. Prayer gives you peace, calm, and connect with God, connect with the universe. And one of the messages, people ask me why I wrote this book. There are several reasons. One of them is to say that it's not where we're coming from, where we're going, what matters. It's not yesterday. I have never met a person who could change yesterday. I do not know of one who can accurately predict tomorrow. So we have today. So live it, live well. Like you said, Barry. So in the early stages, I always found that there are angels without wings around us. It is only for us to find them, to seek them out. When I came to London, England, I did not know anyone, absolutely none. So there was one person who sent me a letter and said he will sponsor me. I never met him, Mr. Joseph. He was a ticket collector in the British Railway, very poor man. But he sent me the sponsorship letter and of 100 pounds in cash to spend in the plane. So that's how I arrived in Heathrow, London. And he comes with a blanket, puts around me, keep me warm. Take me, he said, we're going to the poor side of London, East London. And there we go. And he has one room, that's all he has. And a stove on the ground, on the floor. And he said, I give you my bed, you sleep there, I sleep on the floor. For no reason. I never met the man. So that's why he was an angel to help chart my pathway in London. So 2 weeks later, and he cooked some chicken and rice for me on the floor, and we ate, and that was my first day in London. And 2 weeks later, I was able to finish the courses and pass the exam, get a job, and life went on. After I was very focused, and I stayed online to get where I wanted to go. But after 4.5 years, the last 6 months, I was playing croquet with royalty. My boss.
I love the image.
Yeah, my boss was Sir Grey. He had 3 hospitals. I was running the hospitals for him. So every Sunday, he will invite to his palace outside London to play croquet at 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock. And then we have dinner. There'll be 20, 25 royalties. And this dark-skinned immigrant speaking English with an accent is the only other person. So I knew how to talk to people, how to talk to the best of the best. But I also used how I got there is to use the power of forgiveness. That's the third item I want to talk about. British people came to India, did a lot of bad things, and ruled us for many years. But we could look at 2 ways. Majority of Indians are angry about it, and then always upset about it. I said to myself, these are interesting people. How did they come from a small island and conquer a whole continent? There's something good about them. So I want to find out what is different about them. There was one point, there was 15,000 Indians, a ratio was 1 British soldier. 15,000 Indians, how did they conquer a continent? Now 3 countries, Pakistan, India, and Bangladesh, all of them, So I said, I want to know who these people are. Instead of trying to be angry at them, I asked myself what good they did in India. Of course, they built railway from north to south, east to west, and united the country. If not, we will be like Africa by 25 different countries fighting with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So they also gave the international language, English. So I could study medicine in English.
Right.
I could become an international healer. I could write my book in English. So I said, I'm going to London as soon as I can leave India. So I went there and I found who they were. And I used the power of forgiveness. And I used the same thing in India, in southern United States when I started my career. in the South, in North Carolina. Things were not easy for me at that time. It was the South. They didn't want this man anywhere. They would not give me a loan. The bank would not give me a loan. That's why I started my own bank. They would not give me a job. So I bought a practice instead.
Right.
They would not hire me as a physician. So that was difficult. So there again, I found this angel, N. Hampton Childs. He couldn't be any more Southern person. He's a pillar of the community. He came from Mayo Clinic. He's a doctor. And he had this amazing practice. So I had the guts to walk and introduce myself to him. And he said, he was a little reluctant, but then he invited me into the office, sat me down and asked me, tell me your story, Dr. Peters. I told him my story. And he said, I'm only going to sell my practice to you. I want to retire. In 2 months, this was in November, January 1, you're going to take over the practice. I work for you for 2 years. You buy the practice, you're the boss. It's amazing. He was an angel. He helped me build that practice in South, at that time, very segregated. So I stopped there because I'm giving you 2 examples of using the power of forgiveness and finding angels without wings around us.
Let's take a look at something very interesting, and it's so wondrous that you mentioned the power of forgiveness, and we're going to give the benefit to your mother. She was the transmitter, because you mentioned that early on. And the second thing about finding angels, you mentioned also the word of anger, that, let's say, most of the people that in, let's say, in India today, they're angry. There's a great line that comes from the Latin by Marcus Aurelius: anger is the wind that blows out the lamp of reason. Anger has no part of a human blossom, which is what you are, a human tree. Because if you allow anger to be in there, then it saps the roots from growth. That's what it does. It stunts it. It can't help but do that. And it blows out the lamp of reason. You cannot grow. So the genius of what you're sharing with us is working hard, as you said you did. And by definition, you cannot succeed in any endeavor without hard work. You were living well, which means the power of forgiveness. That's the essence of living well. And you prayed hard. And to this very day, Dr. Peters, you pray, don't you?
I pray 3 times a day. Before I leave my home, I have a prayer center here at my home. I have a prayer center in my office. And over a period of time, people watch me pray, and they started coming into my office. They pray with me every morning, and it became almost a crowd. And about 5-10 years into my practice, I realized there's a lot of magical things happening. And I don't deserve, I'm not good enough to heal many people like this. So I prayed about it, and I realized, it's just a God working through me. So in my white jacket, I'm the only doctor in state of North Carolina, what I know. I embroidered big letters: I treat, God heals. God heals.
Yeah, I want you to say it again. I treat.
And God heals.
I treat and God heals.
Yes. I embroidered big letters, real blue, deep blue in a white jacket. And on the other side is my name and my title. On this side, I put God heals, because I was surprised I give the same prescription. I do the same test as some of the other doctors have already done. And the patients it's not that anyone any different, but I haven't done anything that much different. The other doctors just as smart as I am, and they're doing all the things that I'm doing also. So what's the difference? I think part of it is the healing power, and the healing comes from God. So I said, I am not good enough to claim all the things that are happening. Our growth, many patients are coming, we are growing fast. I am not worthy of that. I'm only an instrument of God. So why don't I say it? Because we have to proclaim the glory of God within us. If we don't say that, then we are hiding the glory that God has given us.
Right. And remember what we said about faith, finding answers in the hidden. So you're allowing it to come out by saying, by the way, HEALS is a wonderful acronym that stands for helping everyone achieve life successfully. That's what God does. He heals by enabling the person to achieve life in their own being. When you recognize that you have a direct relationship with your creator, and your creator wants only the best for you, then by definition, that enables healing. The person themselves has the healing power as long as they know it can be channeled. So this is, we're loving it. Thank you so much. Oh, Lenny Peters, there's so much to work with and discuss here. I want to end up, the hour is going by so quickly. I want to go to something that really touches you most and me. I'd like you to spend just a few more minutes, please, on telling us what it is that happens in these orphanages. In other words, the people that are being blessed, and I say quite candidly, with the ability to come to a place where they have food, shelter, education, which is, by the way, not available in all places throughout India or Africa. So what you're giving people is the ability for them to blossom in their own right. Because when you have food, shelter, and education, now the being can begin to grow. So would you speak a little bit to those particular issues?
Yeah, these are children mostly abandoned because the father and mother died or have no other resources and no place to go. So we take them and we raise them in a very high-end environment. I wanted to make sure this is not anything that just low end. We give them good food, good bathrooms, good study halls, computers. In some cases, we even have vehicles to transport them to other schools that's needed, or shopping. So we do it right so that the children don't feel like they are in any less of a child than being in a home with father and mother. So we wanted to give the same quality and the dignity and the pride. And we raise them in a very faith-based environment. We don't force them to choose a religion. But at the age 18, they can choose a religion they want. But mostly they know about Christian faith because that's what we do. But we're not asking them in any way to change a religion. So we give them food, clothing, education, and then allow them to blossom into who they want to be. That's in some cases. And then we also have another center for cancer patients, where they are the last 3 years of their life. We take care of them. There's another center during COVID. Some of these prayer centers were hurt pretty bad because they had no way of having resources to feed. So we took over those centers, and these people can come and just pray with the holy people in that center. More recently, we have in northern, far away, 1,000 miles away from my hometown, there is a situation where young girls at the age of 12 were being sold to bad actors. So we said, okay, at least we can take 30 of those girls. It's better than none. So
Right.
we took 30 of them at a younger age, and we protect them. It's called the Girls Protection Center. So we had a lot of difficulties doing that because we have to go up against some powerful people, and these girls would disappear and sold into different bad acts. So we protect them, we take them, we raise them. I could see their warmth and their happiness. And I just had my birthday in October. It's so interesting. All these centers, we never told them. They all had big celebration for my birthday in my absence, cutting my cake with my picture on it. and they're celebrating in so many different locations, miles and apart. I didn't even know. They sent me the videos. So I see that we are making a difference in many ways. So that's
You
what.
are mad. You're the mad doctor. If you remember in the beginning of the show, we said one of the three fundamentals of life is go mad, go make a difference. By the way, where in Africa do you have the orphanages?
Johannesburg. In Johannesburg.
In Johannesburg, which really needs it also. Very good.
It's on the bad side of Johannesburg, and then the second one is about 100 miles outside Johannesburg in a small town. So those are the two. Again, I have no reason to go to Africa. I have no African roots, but I feel like there is a calling. I get a call from them to say, will I do this? Of course I will do it. They said, we will be the people on the ground to do this. I need people on the ground. And the good Lord is connecting us,
By the way, it's almost like a full cycle because Gandhi found his bearings in South Africa.
Yes.
That's where he started to become Gandhi. We'll talk about another time. So I have 3 quick questions for you, Dr. Lenny Peters. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Number 1, will you come back again?
Yes, anytime.
Thank you. Number 2, I'd like to ask you in 80 seconds, you have only 80 seconds to answer this. What is your most fervent desire?
I want to be of help to as many people as possible and tell them my story so I can inspire them. I think, because of my minority status, because of where I come from, I have a good story to talk about.
Right. And stories make a difference. Let's be blunt. I mean, hello, the Bible is filled with stories for a reason. Thank you. Okay, number 3 question. Are you ready for a hug in front of 358,000 people around the world?
I would love it.
Okay, let me tell you what HUG stands for. Ready?
Yes.
Heartfelt, unlimited giving.
Heartfelt, unlimited giving. Yes.
Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Good. Thank you.
Dr. Lenny Peters, you're listening to because you're tuning consciously and conscientiously to the joy of living with your humble host, Barry Shore, our amazing, fabulous guest, Dr. Lenny Peters. And you tuned in, remember, for one reason only. That's the best reason in the whole world. You care the most in the whole world about you. YOUEW, which is great because when you're the best you make the world a better place, right, Lenny? You build bridges of harmony, create more joy, happiness, peace, and love. Remember, when you use the 3 fundamentals of life, you will be happier, healthier, and wealthier. The 3 fundamentals are: number 1, life. Your life has purpose, like Dr. Lenny Peters. Number 2, when you live a life of purpose, you go mad. MAD is a great acronym that stands for make a difference. And number 3, unlock the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms. Simple example, WWW, what a wonderful world. Smile, seeing miracles in life every day, like Lenny Peters. Or, as my 8-year-old niece says, seeing miracles in everyday life. Create the kind of world you want to live in, causing thinking, enabling all to excel. The 6 most important words you'll ever internalize, utilize, and leverage are choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. And use 4-letter words like hope, free, gift, grow, play, swim, calm, pray, live well, work hard, pray hard. 4-letter words, and tell everybody F you. Capital N, capital N. Remember to add that right away. Say, where'd you get that? Listen to The Joy of Living with Barry Shore and say the 2 most powerful words in the English language 3 times a day, consciously and conscientiously, from now and the rest of your life. And these 2 words are thank you, thank you, thank you, to harmonize and network kindness. Thank you, wonderful Dr. Lenny Peters. And now Lenny and Barry are going to give forth our blessing to you. Everybody, here it is. Go forth, live exuberantly, spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. Go mad. Go make a difference. Lenny, don't go away, okay?
All right.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Joy of Living podcast. Now that's another step towards your healthier, happier, and wealthier life. Never hesitate to do good in the world, no matter what the situation. Join us for another upbeat discussion next time at barryshore.com. And be sure to leave a rating and subscribe to the show to get more conversations like this. And remember to share it with your family and friends too. See you on the next episode.